Hello, and welcome to the Bella Backstage podcast, where you get to see the behind the scenes of all things entertainment, people, events, and what they do in their personal lives. Today on the podcast, I have Taylor Tukes.
Hi, guys.
I'm very excited for y'all to get to meet her and talk about a little bit about her, besides being a model in the entertainment industry. We're going to get into all of that today. I'm very excited. Let's get into it. Taylor and I actually met because we have the same publicist. Shout out to Calamans.
Oh, I hear it a lot, and I just got here too. Like, I'm new. I'm totally new to California, to the entire industry.
Miami.
Yeah, it's very different, but I've actually heard a lot when I've started going to events that the people here aren't very genuine. Yeah, it was a bit shocking.
Yeah, it's definitely hard because you see all these things about the entertainment industry, and then once you're in it and you're trying to do your thing, it's like, oh, well, you know, these people that I see, they're doing one thing, and you're like, maybe I should do that, but you still want to stay true to yourself.
Exactly.
And it's like this hard medium that you have to have, because it's like you don't want to lose yourself in your work, or like even just being in the entertainment industry, it comes with so many things. Like, it's the posting and the going out and being seen and meeting.
Oh my god. Yes, it's a lot to handle, really. I mean, when I came into this, I guess I was kind of confident. I've always been very confident in myself.
That's great.
And in my abilities and what I can do in my career. But it is very overwhelming to have to keep up with everything. If you want to stay relevant, it's like, okay, I have to actually do more on Instagram, I have to do more on Twitter, I have to maybe join TikTok and do every single social media there is to man. And the events, going to events, I'm an introvert, so that just adds to the overwhelmingness of it all. But it's the things we have to do if we want to really, you know, make it in this industry.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about branching out into something other than modeling?
Actually, I've really been thinking about acting for a long time. I know when I first started modeling and I got signed with my first agency, they were all just pushing acting on me. But it wasn't because they thought I was a good actress. It was because of my height.
Yes.
So
the height, and then the agencies always try to push across the board. Always across the board for everything. They want to have you for every single thing. But yeah, I mean, I feel definitely there's a lot of crossovers between modeling and acting.
I think
so. But it also can get hard just because it's kind of two different things. Like, a lot of people think it's really easy. Oh, I'm an actress, I can do modeling. But it's like, it's really exhausting. And that's even the thing with like acting. Even if you do like background, or, you know, you're modeling for a commercial, or, you know, whatever it is, it's lots of energy. It's high energy. You're there all day. So what are some of your tips when you're on set, either for commercial or when you're in live? I haven't done lots of Runway, but what do you think other people should know about getting into Runway and modeling for commercials?
Well, first of all, Runway is very chaotic. And it's a mess, but it's very fun. I'm just going to be very honest. It's a mess. There's a lot going on backstage. There's a lot of yelling going on backstage. There's a lot of, especially if there are a lot of models for that specific runway show, it's very rushed. And I think you have to really learn how to advocate for yourself. Because especially backstage, it's like you can get forgotten, especially when it comes to hair and makeup. It's like, okay, well, we don't have time to do your hair. We don't have time to do your makeup. And I don't think that's very fair. So really kind of just, you know, having that voice, pushing yourself forward, being like, hey, I need to do this so I can, you know, look good on the runway.
Yeah, of course. I've done like one show, and it wasn't very like professional at all. And I was like, there was very much that chaos, very much. We had costumes, but then we had to bring our own. Like, I don't understand why when you start out in the modeling or acting industry, it's like you have to be a huge advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
For acting, like, you're bringing your own costuming, you're bringing your own hair, your makeup. And I feel like with that one runway, it was like I didn't get paid, but I got the experience, I got the pictures, but I still had to bring my own clothes, my own shoes, and show up. And then when I'm talking to people about how hard and difficult these things are when I get on sets or when I meet other people outside of the entertainment industry, they're like, why are you complaining? And they just assume that I'm being a brat because I have these opportunities to go and do things, but they don't realize like how much comes into it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think their accusations of you being a brat are probably just lack of knowledge.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to do this podcast.
Yes. Yes. I don't know. I just feel like it's a job. I feel like
it's a full-time job.
Of course it is. And I feel like we should, still get treated reasonably at our job. I feel like, okay, if I'm doing a runway show, then okay, why aren't the clothes provided for me?
Oh yeah. And same with like acting. I'll show up, there won't be food. I won't get fed.
Oh my god, yeah.
And I'd be on set for 15 hours plus.
Yeah, I've been through that with runway shows, and it's actually a long set, like 10 hours, 8 hours without food, and they tell you to bring your own snacks, but I mean,
it's like ridiculous because I mean, in any other profession, you have mandated breaks. You have time, you need time. And then as on set for modeling and acting, it's almost like they treat you like you're not human.
Oh my god.
You're a little puppet.
Speak on it.
Speak
on it. And how they want to, what is it? It's just, I've been through a lot of runway shows in the beginning before I even made my New York Fashion Week debut. And I've had the exact same experiences as you, where it's like, oh, we don't pay you, but you should be grateful because we're giving you the experience.
Yeah.
It's like, well, experience does not pay my bills.
Exactly.
But thanks.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, it's kind of hard just because when you're doing it, it's like, what else am I going to do? Or you're pushing yourself because I have to get this job. I have to get another job. I have to pay my bills. Have to pay for my car. I have to get all these ridiculous clothes and shoes and makeup to stay up to date with everything.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's exhausting. It's very exhausting.
So how did you start? How did you get into modeling? What age? How did you come about it? What was interesting?
Well, okay, so what was interesting, really, I think I've always really been into kind of, I guess, girly things. Like, I've always really been into makeup. I've always been into fashion. But what really, really inspired it was seeing that there's no short women on the runway at all. And I do have a lot of relatives in the industry, and they're all either in the acting world or the modeling world. But most of them are in the modeling, or were in the modeling world as well. And I kind of just saw what they were doing, and I was like, hey, why can't I do that too? So I really wanted to do it. I wanted to try it. And I faced a lot of rejection, although my mom was down with it. She was like, okay, I'll put you in runway classes, but she didn't expect me to do this as a full-time career. But she put me in runway classes, and I loved it. Like, as a kid, I did not like anything at all. She tried to put me in sports, camp.
I was the same way, and my mom was so angry all the time.
Yes.
I would be in soccer. I would be in gymnastics, and she's like, none of these work for you? What do you want to do? Like, and it was so much money every time. Every single time I wanted to do something new. She was like, can you just pick something?
Right.
And then finally that one thing clicked.
Exactly. And for me, that was modeling. So I really liked it. But I don't know, when I joined my runway class, I was very small at the time, so they didn't think that I was going to be short for the rest of my life. So it was like, they were encouraging me. They're like, yeah, you should go do it. You should do modeling. I mean, you're going to be good at this. You have a great walk. We can put you in some commercial print campaigns. So I did do a campaign for Justice a really long time ago. But when it comes to runway, it was more difficult because of my height, obviously. I was 4'11" back then, and now I'm 5'1". So it has been very hard, but I did get an opportunity, which kind of just fell into my lap, and I'm very grateful for it. In 2022, they were looking for petite models, and I had no idea they were looking for petite models. But they were just telling me, hey, we need models under 5'4" for this runway show. And me, I was thinking it was a scam, kind of, because I'm like, they don't look for that in the industry. Yeah, and that too. So I took it. I went to New York, and I didn't expect to be published on Harper's Bazaar, on Elle, Marie Claire, Madame Figaro, all of those really huge platforms because of that one New York Fashion Week debut. And then after the show, I just remember them telling us, hey, you guys just made history as the first short models to walk. And we were like, what? And they're like, yeah, this is for a petite brand. And I was like, oh, that's crazy, because we don't have any of those.
Yeah, no.
So
none. Yeah, that's crazy.
For sure.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So how was your first experience as a runway high fashion model compared to the last one that you had?
Oh my god. I'm trying to remember the last one that I had. I think the last thing that I did was Swim Week.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Swim Week is always interesting. That's all I'll say. It's always interesting. I think that This year they did a lot better because Swim Week has a history of just only casting one stereotype, like blonde. I guess beach blonde is what they're going for. I don't really know. And influencer too, like many models.
Don't get me started on influencer.
Well, yeah, I kind of have beef with that term, but they love to cast influencers. I think Miami Swim Week is more focused on the follower count and the follower number, and it's a bit unfair. And a lot of models feel the same way about it, where it's like, okay, but this is our literal job. And there are some brands that do go through like actual modeling agencies, and I appreciate them so much because, I mean, it is a fashion show for models. And there are also a lot of rising productions and brands that would rather go through follower count. Like if you have 500K on Instagram and you can't walk at all, you are more likely to get booked than a model with 10 years of experience who was probably there for the first ever Swim Week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. Who are these executives, guys?
No, for
real. We need new people. Come on.
We really do. We need to give us our jobs back.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty much an open book, actually. Okay. Like, I don't really like to suppress anything about myself. I feel like if someone were to just ask me a fact about me, then I would just answer it honestly. I don't really know.
Yeah. Do you think that that's what will make you stand out in the long run?
Oh, I definitely think so.
Yeah.
I definitely think so because I've seen a lot of people, and I'm like, keep in mind, I'm new. I'm new, but I've already seen it, where people would compromise their own morals, I should say, or their identity to, let's say, get a role or book this or be noticed by this person or get this many followers. I've even had a conversation recently with someone that I met. I think she is in the singing business. I'm not quite sure. But she was telling me, yeah, you know, I can't really be myself because they won't market me correctly or they won't market me at all. I have to be someone that I'm not. And I don't like it, but it's what pays my bills. And I'm like, I just felt very bad for her.
Wow.
But yeah, it's a lot of pretending.
Yes, it is. I feel like definitely the times that I've booked for commercials and like Runway, and it's very like, oh, they want to fit in the bubble of being something. So then they're like, oh, you know, their marketing campaign is we're inclusive. And then they hire me because I'm inclusive to their thing. And then everyone else is what their normal standard is.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, just because I have curves and I look ethnically ambiguous, I'm considered not the norm. And I'm like, I feel like even now it's like we're 2024 and people are saying, no, the business is changing, but it's really not. It's really not.
I mean, I feel like it has changed a tiny bit, but that's not enough to claim full change.
Yeah. I feel like the change that's happened is that now we have campaigns specifically for the types of people that they want. So petite or curvy or, you know, whatever it is. But it's just those campaigns. We're not involved with the ones with the high people that are tall, that have the hair, that are blonde, that are blue eyes. We're not involved with any of those. We're in our specific little box, in our little bubble, and that's the thing that needs to change.
Oh, yeah. We want to be included. I feel like they don't really understand what inclusivity really is. And I just had this conversation with someone yesterday, too. It's like they want to give us our own little bubble, but they don't want us to be included in the big gigs or the big campaigns. I remember seeing on Instagram like last year, this one person thought they were doing something by making a petite New York Fashion Week, and while that's great that we're getting recognized, that's not what we asked for, and that's not what we wanted. We want it to be included with everyone else. And I have friends who are plus size models and they say the exact same thing. They want to be included with everyone else. They don't want a plus sized fashion week.
Exactly. I recently just went to an audition for a well-known brand.
Oh, wow.
And I was told that I wasn't curvy enough.
Oh.
What does that...
Yeah.
I'm coming for that size, that specific size, for those measurements. And then I was told that I was too skinny to be considered a curve.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
How does that make sense?
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's just... It's crazy to me that everyone is put in a bubble. It doesn't matter who you are, and if you're not truly yourself and you truly don't love it, like it's it can really break you. And that's the part where people are always like, oh, it's so easy to get in, it's so easy to do everything and to keep it up. But it's not. Like you said, it's a full-time job.
It is a full-time job. I feel like if this is your thing, if you are maybe a social media addict, I don't know, then yeah, it's going to be easy for you. But I feel like for a lot of people in the industry, it's not even the fact that they don't like social media, it's the fact that they have to force themselves off of it, because I do know that a lot of fame comes with some consequences, and that consequence could be mean comments online or trolls online, and that could drive someone away from wanting to do social media.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting, really. It's exhausting.
How do you feel with being a model? What do you think you have to post in order to be considered relevant and get up to date? Like, how does that work?
When you find out, you let me know, because I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Because honestly, like, for acting, it's so weird, because sometimes they want like true like acting reels, but then they only want that on your resume, or you know, everyone says something different. And I always just try to post what's organically me, but then all these followers are following me for different reasons, and they're not following me for my acting.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm actually very grateful, because my community follows me. I've noticed that the things that get me, let's say, the most engagement on social media is literally for what I want to do. So when I post runway content, they eat it up. And I'm like, well, yes, thank you. Because that's what I want to do. I want to be known as a short runway model, or one of the first short runway models. And to know that there's a community literally backing me up. And I'm not even kidding. There's a literal petite community.
She has like millions of views on these videos.
Yes. They're like, yes, you go, girl. We love it. Short women, finally. And it's like, oh my God, these people actually agree with me. So that's what I have to post. I do know that a lot of modeling agencies like to tell their models or tell people on applications, yeah, when we look at your social media, we want to see you. Like, we want to see who you are. But I feel like that's just something they say.
Yeah, they say that to us too. Like, when I always go for agencies, that's what they say. They're like, we just want to see what you are, your branding. And then I'm like, I tend to not post any of the kind of content that I get content from events and stuff that I post.
Yeah.
But normally it's just outfits, because that's what I love to do. Like, I love to post little outfits and little cute videos. But then again, like, if an agency sees that, they're like, oh, maybe she's just an influencer. But it's like, no, like, I just like to post pretty pictures.
Yeah, it's like, then what do you guys want? Like, what exactly do you guys want from us? I don't know. I think that I really don't have any plans to change what I post. I want to stay true to what I want to do. And I have received, let's say, advice from people who are like, well, you should post more reels. And well, no, the only reels I'm going to post are me doing runway walks or something. I'm not interested in advertising your brand if I don't resonate with it.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you have coming up, Taylor? What are you doing?
I have a lot. I have so much.
I'm so good to hear that.
Yes. I don't know if I can say.
Oh.
But I do have a few magazine covers coming out too. Yes. So I'm very excited about that. I feel like that's a win for the petite community, because I don't think it is every day that you see a short woman on a magazine, especially a well-known high fashion magazine. I do have Runway.
Where you going?
I'm making my official debut for a CFDA designer.
Oh,
yes.
Wow, that is so exciting.
So I'm very excited about that.
How fun. I feel like you're a very well-rounded person, and you're very humble.
I try.
And I feel like you're being the change, because a lot of people in the industry, when they say they're advocating for different body types, they're advocating for themselves.
Oh my God.
And you're advocating for everyone as a whole, all the petite women out there. The amount of times that I've gone to modeling, I have a modeling agent, and I have yet to book anything in 2 years.
Oh, tell me
and I audition
about it.
Constantly. But it's that bubble that we were talking about.
It's that, and you know what? I've had the same experience where I've actually been with maybe 3 to 4 agencies in the past, and I've had the exact same experience with them, and I think it's not even me. I'm just gonna tell y'all that now. It is not me. I know it's not me.
It's not me.
No, it's not me. It's them. Because I know for a fact my very first agency, like I said earlier, they were pushing me for acting. So something tells me they were not submitting me to modeling jobs, especially because when I submitted myself, I got results, and I literally booked every single thing that I submitted for. So because of that, no one's going to tell me that I can't be successful in this.
Yeah.
I just think they don't advocate for me. I don't think they were really on my team or on my side. I think they were more so like, oh, let's just keep her and let's submit her for acting jobs, or let's submit her for commercial print, when I was booking way more than that. I was on Runway. So what now?
Yeah, I feel like that's another huge thing in the industry. It's like agents, you never know who's on your side. You never know who's really there. I've had so many agents where I've had to fire them after a couple months. So real. Because it's like, what are you doing for me? And again, it sounds catty.
Yes.
It's like, but it's our job. Like, you are like my manager. If you're working at a store, these people are supposed to be there for us. And
yeah.
And I've had to ask, I'm like, where's the submission breakdown? I need to see everything you're submitting me to, and they don't submit me for anything.
Yeah, I think it was the same way for me with my first agency. They did not submit me for, I know they didn't submit me for anything. And then my second agency was quite literally the same, where it was like, I think they had the mentality of, oh, well, let's not bother submitting her because she's 5'1", when in reality, I think people need to realize that they don't know what's going through that other person's head. Maybe that booker or the person that they're submitting me to could be like, oh, this is very interesting. A 5'1" model, and she advocates for this, this, and this, and she's been on the cover of InStyle and Grazia. Let's give her a chance. I don't think that the agents, I don't think they have that mentality, and that's what messes everything up. So I do feel as if it's so important to really advocate for yourself in the industry, whether you're a model or an actress, and just try things for yourself, because you really never know who's on your side and who's not. So true.
How does the high fashion runway modeling business affect you in the way that you like to style yourself on Instagram, in your personal day-to-day life, on, you know, whatever it is for your personal style?
Well, they try to tell you that short women can only wear this, or this type of style, or this type of dress or shirt or pants or whatever will look good on you for your frame and your body type and your height. But I honestly have never cared. I have always been someone who, if I like something and I think it's cute, then yes, I'm going to wear it. Like, I don't care if you think a tank top is going to look good on me over a bodysuit or over a gown. If I like it, I'm going to wear it.
That's great. Yeah.
For sure.
Is there anything going on in your life that you want to work on for, like, project-wise, or just something for you other than modeling and acting in general?
I think my focus right now is mainly just for modeling. Okay. Like, I really want to focus on breaking barriers for short women and modeling, and that's kind of been my mission since maybe 2023, I would say, when I started Height Revolution with another petite model named Marissa Rose. And I think that's really my mission right now. That's the only thing that I'm really headed toward and focused on.
Tell me more about your, what is it called?
Height Revolution.
Height Revolution.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Well, we started it was very spontaneous. Okay. It was literally a shower thought. Like, I was literally I was in the, well, that's when, like, the best ideas come. But I was in the bathtub and I was like, you know what? I'm sick of this. Like, I was literally scrolling through Instagram in my tub, and I was like, I think something triggered me. I'm not sure what it was, but it's all the same thing. Someone was like, oh, you have to be this tall to model or whatever. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm sick of this. So I literally put it on my story. I think it was my close friend's story. I was like, hey, I'm sick of this. No more. If anyone wants to partner with me, because I didn't want to do it by myself when I know there's a whole community of petite women who feel the same way. So I was like, if anyone wants to partner with me and, you know, kind of speak out with me, I would love that. If not, I'm fine with doing it alone. And Marissa was the first person to reach out, and she was like, I'm sick of this too. I think she had just gone through a rejection in London, which is where she lives. And she was, oh, this is so funny. She was called in by an agency, and the agency she literally told them she's 4'11". She got there and they were like, oh, you're too short. But she literally told you she's 4'11". And together we started Height Revolution. It's basically an Instagram-based campaign. It's to advocate for the overdue inclusion of short women in fashion. And we do have a lot of plans with it. We want to go more than just, we want to be more than just an Instagram campaign. We want to hold our own fashion shows. We want to partner with agencies, any agencies who really claim to be diverse and inclusive, and hold casting calls, just anything we can to help out the petite community and just make our voices heard.
How fun. Well, that's so exciting. I'm so excited for you. That's so fun. I feel like a lot of people will advocate on Instagram and then not follow through, not do what they're saying.
Yeah.
And not put their best foot forward for something that they really love and really want to fight for. So that's great.
Yeah, I've actually noticed there were a lot of people before us who did petite Instagram-based campaigns as well, but I think it could have gone very far if they were consistent with it, and there hasn't been much consistency in advocating for short women in fashion. And because of that, that also kind of made me a little bit upset, because it's like, well, it kind of just looks like you're doing this for yourself. Oh, yeah. Because once they get signed, it's like, oh, okay, well, page over. It's like, well, no.
So you said you're from Miami, and you were in Miami for how long?
All my life.
Okay.
All my life.
And then you just went for swim week, right?
I did, yeah.
Okay. How long were you there for?
I had to be there a month early for castings, because they do things a bit early, which I think it's good. But I was there, so they moved swim week this year from July to June. So I had to leave in mid-May and catch as many castings as I could. And then I came back to California, I think, when did I come back? I think I came in July. I came back in July.
Yeah, it was July.
Yeah.
So since you're from there, I've noticed you're not the biggest fan of Miami.
Not at all.
Are your plans to stay in the LA area, move to anywhere around the LA area, Orange County area, or you're going to stay in LA?
I love Orange County. I wish I could. I've been here for, I would say, only like 2 months. And I'm in the downtown LA area, but I have to travel a lot for my modeling bookings. And I've been to Orange County so many times, and it's like, I really wish I could live here. But most of my bookings are in, the West Hollywood area. But I do plan on at least staying there, even though I would really love to move to Orange County.
I mean, if you need a roommate,
yeah.
But yeah, how fun. Is there anything you'd like to do for like your community, for yourself as a person? Like, do you want to travel? Like, is there anything that you want to do as a person?
Yeah, I would love to travel. I really do want to travel. I feel like that just comes with the job, but I would like to travel outside of the job. I think that is one thing. I also think maybe just meeting more people as well, not only in this industry, but just meeting more people that I resonate with, because I find that is not very easy to do for someone who has their head on straight. I think, yeah, that's my goal, just building community and traveling, and yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 22.
So you're 22.
Yes.
What is it like being a person in modeling and in the industry? And you said you wanted to make friends. How is it like trying to make friends in an industry that's so catty and so hard to get into?
Awful. Awful.
I know in acting it's pretty hard, because you're all there to do the same thing, but then you're all looked down upon because some people are doing background, some are supporting. Oh my god. And it's really hard to make friends because you really don't know if people are trying to use you.
Yeah.
Or whatever the fact is. So how is it for you being at these castings? Because the castings that I've been to, is you show up, you're in your little black, you're in your little heels, there's a bunch of people there, hundreds of whatever people, if it's really big, thousands of people are there. You're all lined up, you're all getting judged, you're all being watched and taking pictures and walking and doing all these things. How is it working through all of that and trying to make friends and trying to build a community with people that are in the community?
The best piece of advice I've ever gotten was from a relative who was pretty big at modeling at one point, and she had told me that it is very wise to not make friends in the modeling industry. And although I don't really, I'm a firm believer that not everyone's experience is going to be my experience, so I do keep an open mind, because you never know, you can meet a model who shares the same mindset as you and actually is genuinely rooting for you. And that's something that I am very open to and I do want. But I've noticed most of my friends are actually singers. They're not in the modeling industry at all. It's not very, I would say, ideal to meet people in the modeling industry because I have experienced some very catty behavior, especially being a short model, being surrounded by people, mostly taller models. It's like, well, why are you here? It's like, well, because I deserve to be here as much as you do. And I literally say that, and it kind of just makes them a little bit upset, but it's like, what now? I do remember I had this experience with another petite model, and you would think that petite models are there for each other and support each other because we do know our hardships and we do know, okay, well, we kind of have to stick together because all of these voices are more powerful than just one voice. So if a lot of people are speaking up, it's more than likely to change faster than if just this one little person is just speaking up. And I kind of went into the community hoping that that would be the mindset. And I think it was for a while, but it was not genuine because I've noticed when you succeed at something and they don't, it's kind of like a very change. It's like a 180, like a very catty 180. So my experience was I was in a chat with a lot of petite models, a lot of short models, and we supported each other. The chat was just for us. We would share castings, we would share advice. A lot of us had, well, there was more like maybe 3 of us had connections more than the others did, so we would put the others onto our connections and be like, hey, we have this event if you want to come out, hey, we have this going on if you want to come out, we need to stand together. And that happened until I got an article on a site maybe like late last year, and I've noticed after that happened I was kicked out of the group chat, and I was like, I wasn't told anything at all. I was just kicked out. Although yes, although I do still talk to some of those people who were in there. I don't believe it was on them, although I am cautious because but that was my experience. And then yes, it's like disappointing because I really thought that this specific petite model was for petite models because that's what she had put on. She was like, yeah, we want to do this for petite models, we want to do that for petite models. And she was genuinely trying to do something for petite models, but I think because the similar situation that happened to me happened to another petite model who was on a red carpet event, and she kind of just got very upset and started accusing her of, oh, you're only doing this for yourself. But
what backwards?
What? Like,
oh
what?
My goodness.
I don't know. But I have noticed it's a lot. I have similar experiences like that in the petite community, and it's very, very aggravating. And it's just like, I mean, there's enough room for everybody, I think. This is a big industry.
Oh, yeah.
And just one petite model doing something it doesn't mean that you can't do the same thing. So I don't like to make friends with models, but
when you were growing up, did you get any jobs? Did you do anything where you were making friends outside of the industry and then they'd have questions or they're trying to intervene or anything like that? Because I know, at least for me personally, when I would go out and do these things when I was younger, it was the same thing, but it was backwards. It was from people outside of the industry.
Oh, wow.
And looking in, and they would talk to me and they were like, oh, one day it was, hey, can you help me? Like, you want to help me get into the industry? I'm like, you got to be really serious about this, and we got to sit down. We have to have a chat because it's really, there's a lot. It's not just sign me up, pay millions of dollars.
Sign me up.
No, it's a lot of work, and and you have to have a lot of support because it's really draining on your mental health. And mental health is something that's very important to me and everyone. It really should be people's priorities. It needs to be something that's more talked about. So true. And especially in this industry.
Oh, yeah.
Because, it's not just, oh, I show up to work, I'm playing some monster today, and then I go home and I'm still sitting in that, or like, hey, I'm modeling today, I'm taking energy from this, and then you go home and then you're catty to everyone. No, like, it's just, it's hard. So the friend thing, it's when I was in high school and I would be doing all this, I would come back and I would feel so alone. Because everyone would just be hating on me and be like, you're this weird person, or why are you doing this? Like, you're never going to make it. Or get me in, help me make it. Or I think it came from jealousy. But I've always been the type of person, I've been very giving. I'm always come with an open heart and open hands. Like, if you do something that hurts me, I'm more than likely to give you more than one chance.
Oh, wow.
And that's where a lot of it stems from, because I'm that person that will always come back and help whoever it can. But then the flip side is when they're on their terms and they come to talk to me, then I would get that. I would get the hate. I would get the, you're actually not doing this, or you're pretending, or you're saying things and you're not actually doing them. And they would just take everything that I would do and just spit on it.
That's actually insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, you know what though, but I've heard that exact same thing from a lot of people where they would just be like, okay, well, I have all these people, but I don't know if they're actually real to me, and I don't know if they actually just want to take from me, and I feel very lonely. And I think I do sympathize with those people. Well, personally, like for me, my friends think I'm the coolest person on the planet. Like, there are some of them who, maybe like 2 or 3, who they want to get into the industry, but they don't view me as like, they don't view, you know, they don't have like a catty perspective of it. It's more like, oh, okay, well, this is inspiring. And I have other friends who are not in the industry, and they don't want to do anything with the industry at all, but they think I'm so cool because they think that because I'm a model, I don't know what they think of me. I'm like Beyonce or something. But yeah, I think it's actually very important to have a genuine group of people around you, because you can absolutely, I've seen it so many times and I've heard it, and you just said it, you can feel very lonely if you don't. And I think that I'm very, very fortunate and grateful, because for 2 things really, to always have had those friends, because I have a small circle. I prefer to keep a very tiny circle, but they're so cool, and I've known them since middle school and high school, and some from elementary. Wow. And those are like my people. So I'm very grateful to have known them for such a long time and still be friends with them. But also, I think I'm very grateful to not have entered this industry when I was young, because I think that's what does it for a lot of people. I think that really, I guess you could say, since I'm 22 now, when I was maybe 21 is where my career started kind of taking off. It was after New York Fashion Week, so that's around then. And I think it really helps you to be in this industry at that age, because I think you are aware of a lot more. You're less susceptible to very shady acts. And very, I was saying, yeah, I do have a lot of friends, like I said earlier, in the industry, and they're more so in the singing part of the industry. But they have literally said that they've been in the industry since they were very tiny, and that messed them up a lot, because their parents, I guess I could say, were, yeah, kind of just sending them off.
Yeah, my parents were I'm very fortunate. They were very supportive. It took a lot of convincing, though. Like, I started theater when I was 13, just community, and then I got into modeling school, which low-key was a scam. I was gonna ask you, have you dealt with any of those like type of scam things?
So many times.
You like go and then you audition and they have you pay money.
Yes.
Why is that a thing? Why is that a thing? I've done multiple. I don't know. Of those, and all the time it's like, because I was young and I was hungry for the industry. It's not even like they're taking advantage. Like, there's so many people out there that get scammed by these people, and I'm like, I think it's evil, because I'm wow, you're really just gonna charge them thousands of dollars and then you're not really gonna help them.
Yeah, can I say names?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So when I was younger, Barbizon was one.
My God.
Yes.
I went to Barbizon
too.
Oh my God. Okay. First of all, yeah, I was really young when I did Barbizon, and we're dishing it out here on Bella Backstage.
Absolutely.
I fear that I think they've taken some of my work and promoted it for their crap, because we signed that contract. You know, that contract in the beginning.
I don't know, because my parents looked over it. Okay, so
I
have no
didn't
idea.
read it, but I remember the contract, and it was like, we have the right to promote you if you make it or something, to promote our brand.
Oh, the nerve.
And they did it. They did that. They did that with everyone, like the Austin and Alley people. Like, they take their stuff and then they put it on theirs and be like, come do our program.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Come do our program. You should watch their Instagram, because sometimes they post stuff on there too. It's crazy.
Well, I hope they don't post me because I'm gonna speak out about it. But that was definitely one. I had the same experience, kind of, but I do remember. I need to listen to myself more. I'm glad I do now. Back then, I did not listen to myself at all because it was like I was literally told that I should never pay anyone for a modeling career or an acting career, and there's no such thing as going to modeling school or acting school. Like, it's not mandatory. I didn't know that. So I literally begged my parents. I was like, can you guys please put me in Barbizon? I mean, it's gonna be so good for me. Like, I'm gonna do all these things and stuff, and I'm gonna make it big. And that was one, and then the other one was Country Girl Management. I know that they had what was it? I think they do the same thing as Barbizon, where they promote you on their page. Oh, okay. And they did not do anything for me, although they were like full of promises. Oh yeah, if you join us, you're going to be modeling. We're going to put you in front of scouts and agents, and you're going to make it.
Did you get like signed from any of those things?
No.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
Not at all.
I did, and I wasted my whole year with one agency, and they did nothing for me.
That's crazy.
Nothing.
Yeah, that happens a lot, though. That happens a lot. And then there's another one. I will literally spill everything. Like, I am coming for my comeuppance.
I need my thousands of dollars back, please.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. I think this was like the last one that I actually spent money on, but it was PMTM or something. And I don't know what's going on with them. I think they are kind of the same way, where they like to make it seem like they do have clients on their roster. But when I auditioned for them, it was more so like we had to wait in a waiting room, and there were like the agents meeting with each person and telling each person if they made it or not. And no one was special because everyone made it because they wanted everyone's money. And so they were like, yeah, if you want to sign with us, you have to take this acting class, or you have to take this modeling class. And it's like, why do I need to take a modeling class? I have literally worked with Glamnetic. I've worked with all of these print campaigns, and you're telling me I have to take a modeling class for what? But I feel like a lot of them just don't pay, y'all.
The last one
don't
that
pay.
I did was IMTA in LA.
Oh, I heard of them. Yeah.
Honestly, I think that it is a good one to go to. Because, well, not the training. I would always go to every Saturday. There was a little, like, acting training thing. And it was just basic acting stuff, like how to slate, how to do your monologue, and how to do whatever. And it was, like, so exhausting because I'm like, I already know how to do all of this. I just want to be seen. Right. And then all the people that got seen, like, I got all these medals, but it doesn't mean anything. Like, I didn't. I got signed by an agent, and then they were out of state. And I'm like, oh, this doesn't do anything good for me. And then... And then they have the audacity for everyone who got picked was all the same little bubble group. The tall, the blonde, the blue eyes, the whatever. And it's like no one else made it.
It's not surprising. Exactly. But it's not even just them that's like that. It's really bigger agencies are kind of like that as well. And it's so disappointing. But honestly, if I were to give anyone listening tips, if you're like younger and you don't really know where to start at all, please don't give your money to a modeling school or an acting school. You can literally spend that money on building your portfolio and getting a really good publicist. That's literally it.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, what are some tips or tricks or whatever you'd like to tell everyone about getting into modeling, getting into specifically high fashion runway modeling?
I think one really good tip would be stand out. There's a lot of models that get cast just because they're tall, but the walk is not there and the charisma is not there. So I think that standing out is your best bet, practicing your walk, looking for inspiration, looking at, I don't know, maybe 90s models, early 2000s models for a walk that stands out. Because one thing I've noticed is the demand becomes very high for models when the public kind of gravitates toward them. And I've seen it a lot because maybe I'm on Twitter a lot, but I've seen so much of newer models who are just starting out. They're kind of more so bringing back that charisma walk, and Twitter just eats it up. They're like, yes, we need to see more of this person. And because they're like that, the people that they're eating up, they become big. Like, they grow a lot. So I would say standing out is your best bet because no one wants the same thing as what I'm observing. And I would just say building community is everything. Knowing people is everything. So if you want to really walk in a runway show, I think that making connections in this industry is so important, because those connections will get you so far rather than just auditioning.
Now that we've revamped Bella Backstage, we like to bring something called fact versus myth on the entertainment industry. And so what is something that are myths, or they're true or not, for models?
Well, this is a fact. They literally ask you for runway shows, or even just jobs in general. They ask you what your shoe size is, and you'll tell them your shoe size, and when you show up, they don't have your shoe size. And because of this, I don't think it's very fair. I've seen a lot of models fall on the runway because they don't have their shoe size, and I've seen people literally crucify them because they're like, you need to learn how to walk in 3 inches bigger than you already walk in, or you need to learn how to walk in smaller shoes. And models, literally, we have like so many problems with our feet. Like, there are literal, I'm being so real with you guys, there are literal bunions. There are literal like corns on models' toes because of this very reason. They force us to be able to fit our feet into a smaller size, or be able to walk in bigger shoes. And what's the point of asking if you're not going to actually provide us with those shoes, or just tell us ahead of time to bring our own? I don't get it.
Wow.
I don't know. That's just something I think so.
We just got a question from one of the crew people behind the camera, and she asked how you get that specific look as for your model walk, for your runway high fashion look for your face. And I've noticed when we're at events together, you tend to not smile with like your actual teeth. You do a little like smize on the carpet, and then someone is always like, give me a smile, and you're like, serious. And I love it.
I mean, you know what? I think maybe it's because I am used to not smiling on the runway and even in photo shoots, because for some reason they don't really like it unless it's more of a commercial print type of thing. And Swim Week as well is more so like a smiley type of runway show instead of a serious like New York Fashion Week and London Fashion Week. But I think it's just, I guess, tradition. I guess model tradition.
How did you build yours? Because I know you have a signature.
My smize?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think I just do
practice.
it. I just do it. I don't know.
She's like, I'm just it.
So, I feel like, first of all, for outside of the industry, people, I say, okay, yeah, I model. And they're like, they think you're rich or something. They're like, whoa, you model? So that means that you make millions, right? It's like, well, kind of, sort of. Sure. No. So one thing they don't get is models, it's not a very stable job unless you are booking so many jobs a day, not even a week, but a day. And it also depends on the jobs you're booking. Like, runway models don't make that much money, despite what people think. It's more so of commercial print. That's where the money is. And I don't think they understand that to book that many commercial print jobs, you have to be like Bella Hadid or like Kendall Jenner or something. Yeah. But like, I don't know, that's for outside of the industry, but inside of the industry, it's not really the same thing. It's the opposite. They think that, okay, so this is a model, so that means she's going to do anything to get to the top. And that's where I draw my line, like very, very thickly, actually, because I am not that type of person who would compromise my own beliefs and my own morals and comfort just to get to the top. I'm a firm believer that I've made it this far, and I've made it this far because people resonate with me and they resonate with my story. So I'm very grateful for my community, and I think that I'm going to continue building more of my career because of my community and not because of doing anything shady to get to, you know, where I want to be. But there's that. There's also the models are dumb. Models are, I don't know, they don't eat. I eat. I like food. I love food, actually.
What's your favorite food?
I don't know.
It
changes every day.
That is true.
Yeah. I liked pasta yesterday, but today I'm more of like a taco person. I love food. I will eat food. I love food. And another one is, models are dumb. I mean, that's not true for everybody.
Yeah,
that's not true for all.
Is graduating. What degree
yes,
do you
ma'am. Yes.
What degree?
I'm graduating with a bachelor's in psychology.
Wow.
So.
How was that? So, how did you get into wanting to do psychology? And some people might think that it's very different from modeling, but I feel like in the entertainment industry, there's lots of psychology that goes into it.
It helps.
And taking care of your mental health.
Oh, for sure. I think that since I was maybe, I don't know, little, I've always had interest. I didn't know it was called psychology because I was a kid, but I've always had interest in how people behave and why they behave that way. And I've also always been very observant. Like, I will literally watch you. I do not care. I will watch you because that is how I determine whether or not I want to be around you or not. So I'm very observant of people. I've always been that way since I was smaller. My mom used to be like, why are you always looking around? It's like, because I need to watch these people, and I want to know what these people are up to and what they're thinking. So I've always been very interested in how people think, why they think the way they do, why they behave the way they do. And I think that really helps when it comes to being in the entertainment industry, not only just modeling, but a lot, because there are some very crazy people who will literally try to play mind games on you. And I think that it's very important to not only be self-aware, but I feel like to really kind of just have an idea of how people work, and especially when it comes to manipulative people or gaslighting people, because you guys have no idea how many shady stories yes, shady people. I've heard so many stories about agents gaslighting their models to do this, to get here, and all of that. And it's just very important to have a strong mindset. I think psychology helps a lot with that.
Yeah, of course. Speaking of first impressions, what did you think of me when I met you?
Oh my God. Actually, yes. So when I met you, I think you were with your friend.
I was.
And I was with my friend as well. And I actually met her for the first time. It was my first time ever going to any red carpet event. And I was like, what happens? Like, what happens now?
I was trying to help you because I was like, I want to give her some advice, but I don't want to be that person that's like all up in your face and like, I'm like telling you what to do.
It's appreciated.
But I was like trying to help you out. But then I was like, I want to let her do her thing.
Yes. I think my first impression, actually, I think you're like the first person in all of Hollywood, and probably the only that I've met that actually makes me feel very comfortable. Like, I actually feel like,
I'm so glad to hear that.
I do. I feel like, I don't know. Like, I feel very comfortable with you. And usually when I go to events and such, I am not comfortable at all. But I feel very comfortable. And it just feels like, how do I say this? Kind of like I don't have to
pretend, like put it on.
Yeah, like I never pretend anyway, but it just feels more like, okay, well, this person's cool.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
My first impression, I was very nervous to meet you.
Why?
I had only heard like what you do, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's great. Like, we need more inclusivity. Then I saw your Instagram, and I was like, ooh, this girl. And I was like, she's so pretty. And I tried looking for you, and I don't know. I think when I first met you, you were a little bit more reserved, but that's naturally when you're in Hollywood. I'm not always as bubbly. I feel like with being in the PR, I do have to be very like, hey, like I'm gonna take care of you, and I have to be very. I'm still myself and genuine, but I have to be a little bit more interactive with people and very much pay attention, because one, it's like I want to take care of you as like if you're my client, but I also want to make sure as a person like you're comfortable and you're doing okay.
Yeah, I got that vibe from you when I first met you, and I was like, yes, I love this. I wish it was always like this, but yeah.
I try.
Yeah.
Well, being in the entertainment industry, there's always hardships, things that I wish were not true. How do you feel about being a woman and a woman of color in the modeling industry?
Well, I think first of all, being a woman is hard enough, because I do feel like, especially in the modeling industry, like I said earlier, they expect you to kind of like exploit yourself to get opportunities, and that is not me, and that's not anything I ever plan on doing. So if you're listening to this, don't ever try me. I'm so serious. Don't try me. But
heard it here, folks.
But yeah, it's a bit much. I feel like women don't get the same treatment as men.
Oh yeah.
At all, really, in anything, but especially in modeling, I feel like there's more expectations of us, and especially being a woman of color, it's a bit it's very frustrating, I should say, because you would think that things have changed by now, even though they have changed a little bit. But there's still instances where I have to do my own makeup before I go, because people don't know how to match African American skin, or it's like, okay, you have to come with your hair done already because we don't know how to do your hair. And it has upset me so many times where I've gone to runway shows and I just feel like, why do they get to sit in the makeup chair and why do they get to sit in the hair chair and I have to come like this, or I don't get anything done to my hair differently because people think it's like, oh, well, she never does anything to her hair, but it's like, I would love to, but people don't know how to do that for me. Or, oh my God, why does she never wear makeup? It's like, well, first of all, it's not my job. And second of all, they don't know how to do that on my skin. So as much as I would love to go all out on an eyeshadow look, I can't because they don't know how to match my skin tone.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
It's, oh my goodness. But that's only one thing, really. I've noticed as well, being here in LA for a short amount of time, I feel very out of place in a way where I've always been very confident in myself, but it's also like, when I go to all of these events and like fancy get-togethers or whatever, it's like I'm looking around and there's no person of color. It's literally just me. And I'm like, well, this is uncomfortable. So that's one thing. But I don't know. I just really wish that there were more people of color who actually get a chance to make it in the industry, because I feel as if it's a very specific type of person who usually makes it, which is what we've talked about earlier. And even if you look at, I don't know, if you look at the latest castings for actors, or if you look at the latest castings for models, you would see that there is a very, very huge casting for people who are pale skin, blonde hair, blue eyes. And it's like, well, what about us?
What are some of your favorite or names for walking high fashion or brands that you want to work with in your career?
First of all, I am very, very ambitious and I literally reach out. Yes. I feel like you are too, though. So you get it. But I literally reach out to these people. Like I am very bold, I guess.
I need to do that more.
Yes.
Like this. Literally. I was telling her, I was like, hey, do you want to be on my podcast? Didn't have any setup, didn't have any room, didn't have any cameras, didn't have anything. And then within 2 weeks, it was done. Like,
yes.
I feel like I need to do that more.
Yes. I think that's when the best case scenarios happen, when you just go for it. Yes. But yeah, I'm very ambitious. I will literally cold email these people and be like, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I want to walk for you. And I have done that. I did that yesterday, actually. I spent the entire day doing that. And I really would love to work with, I think I want to make it my mission, actually, to just really put the brands first that align with what I am fighting for. So any brand that advocates for diversity and inclusivity. Like, I did reach out to Selkie yesterday. I really want to work with Selkie. I feel like they're one of the only brands that actually know what diversity is. And really the only brand, I think. And
it's so sad.
It is sad.
It's not funny, but it's so sad. Like,
no, really. And I would love to work with Kalina Strada and also Private Policy. Who else? LaPointe, Alina Velez. I want to work with all those people who defy norms, because I feel like we share one thing in common, and that's, we're not the average type of model, or we don't stand for the average type of model.
Well, that's it for this episode of Bella Backstage. Thank you so much, Taylor, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited for all your latest projects. Let everyone know where they can find you on social media.
So you can find me on Instagram at Taytooks, and you can find me on Twitter as well. I'm very active on there, but the username is very complicated. So yes, she will leave it linked.
Bye.
Bye.